to a final thing this week, and that is Pepsi Where's My Jet? This is a documentary series on Netflix, and it is based around the fact that, whenever every now and then drinks companies do. I'm not sure. I don't think I've actually seen one in the UK, but I know that I saw them in Nigeria all the time when you're growing up. So your Coca-Colas and Pepsis, which are the big two companies, they would do an advert. They would do a what's the word? A promotion. They'll do a promotion. Actually, I've seen Walkers do it here. Like maybe a new film's coming out, so they'll say collect all these different things. And if you collect all these different things, you can get stuff. And Pepsi did one where they had an advert for it, which was all about Pepsi points. So they would go and they would do they would say get all these different if you drink a whole bunch of Pepsi and you bring all the slips or the cans and everything here, you can exchange it to Pepsi and you can get a Walkman, or you can get a this and you can get a that. And they had a TV advert to advertise this whole thing about this guy who gets all this stuff. He gets a leather jacket, he gets sunglasses, he gets a Walkman. And at the end, the final thing that said in this advert was they had a Harrier jet. Like this kid arrives to school in a Harrier jet, and they said 7 million points. 7 million points, get a Harrier jet. And this is all about this kid who saw this ad. And because the guys who made the ad did not have a disclaimer at the bottom that says only for promotional purposes, only blah, blah, blah. He said, hang on, there's no disclaimer. That means if I get 7 million Pepsi points, they will give me a jet. And so he makes his whole thing in life about, I'm going to get that jet. And it's about this teenager who decides to go get the jet. And because he is a climbing instructor, he happens to know this millionaire. And this millionaire is kind of like, think Richard Branson. Like the kind of person who really is like, I just want to stick it to the man and stick my thumb right in his eye and say, you guys, you corporate people, you don't know what you're on about. that kind of guy.
That corporate guy.
Well, essentially, the guy who's made a lot of money, probably through something corporate, but hates everything corporate. and all he wants to do is he hates Pepsi, and you have this suspicion that he hates Pepsi because Pepsi has more money than him. So he wants to take. So, and it's all about what they do to try and get 7 million Pepsi points and drink enough to drink enough Pepsi to get 7 million points to go and get that jet. And how they go through the whole point, and they get to the point where they actually have it and they say, Pepsi, we have enough points, where's our jet? And it goes into legal battles and everything because Pepsi are trying to avoid giving them a jet because they're like, it was obviously a joke. And they were like, you say it's obviously a joke, but you didn't put in there anything that said it was a joke. You didn't put a disclaimer. And they speak to everybody. They speak to the people who made the ad. They speak to the Pepsi executives. They speak to the kid who actually did it. They speak to the millionaire who was bankrolling him. They speak to all these different people. They speak to Cindy Crawford because Cindy Crawford was like a big Pepsi person, and she like her ad that was shown during the Super Bowl is still one of the most viewed ads of all time. And they speak to, and they say, okay, what was Pepsi like at that time? What was going on? Everything like. There's even a bit where they go to the Philippines to find out if Pepsi have like a track record of not keeping up with their promises. And this starts out really, really engaging. Really engaging. You're like, oh, what's going on here? It starts off like a bit of a laugh and everything like that. But the problem I had was that as it went on and on, after a while, you're like, okay, why are they still going on with this? As a bit of fun, yes. As to sort of show that you corporate guys, you forgot to put a disclaimer, and so we're going to make you pay for that. Yes. But then it gets to a point where you're like thinking, why are you carrying on with this? And
are you wasting the court's time with this or whatever?
Well, there's this weird thing, and I don't know whether it's an American thing or anything like that, where there seems to be this conflation with, if I do this, I have achieved something in my life. And there seems to be a thing where, like, people feel like, I haven't really done anything in my life. I haven't put myself on the map. Therefore, if I do this, I will be on the map and I will get something. And so much so that, it never really examines that, or it doesn't really go into why these people are doing this. And it sort of peters out towards the end. So it peters out. So it starts off really, really engaging and really, really, oh my God, this is so crazy. I can't believe somebody actually did this. And in the first couple of episodes, you will be like, I can't believe this actually happened. I can't believe people actually went to these lengths. But then as it gets towards the end, I think there's only about 3 or 4 episodes. As it gets towards the end, you're kind of like, okay, that kind of fizzled out. And I could almost see the guys in the edit suite thinking, guys, we need an ending. We don't really have an ending. And so the ending they come up with is so down pat, and it's kind of like, how I was talking about biopics, and like, it's like, the ending they come up with is kind of like that actually leaves No,
Is that it?
no. Yeah, it is a real. It's that it. So I think it's great. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. But I do think that it is. I do think that there's more that could have been examined with it, but it's more like a sort of like a pop culture thing. But I still think that Netflix do really good documentaries,
Yeah.
especially about things that if you're not American, like I'm not American, I wasn't in America at that time, didn't know about this. So I think it's quite cool. So that's 3 stars for Pepsi Where's My Jet.